Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All right, we're rolling. It's Friday night, Gridiron Grinder time. I'm Ryan. With me, as always, is my buddy James. Just a couple dudes hanging out each week, talking about what's going on in the NFL. Tonight is, oh man, I don't even know what episode number it is. I lost track, but we've been rolling well over a year. We're getting back into our second season now, and tonight we're going to be covering our 2021 Week 1 NFL Power Rankings and game picks. We'll kick things off with Name That Stadium like we always do. Then we'll cover the news from around the league for a little bit. After that, we'll hit the main part of the show, the power rankings and the game picks. And last but not least, we'll finish things off with question of the week. So, with all that being said, how's it going tonight, James?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
It's going good, man. Just a mad dash, lot going on. Relocated this week, as you can kind of tell from the blurred background, but getting settled in here and yeah, just rolling with it, man.
That's cool.
So let's do Name That Stadium. So for anybody who's watching, this is a part of the show where, as you can see, James is out there traveling the country. Every week he puts a new stadium in his background. If you think you know what stadium that is, hit us up in the comments section. The first person to get it right gets a special shout out next week's show. And so, James, why don't you tell us where you were at last week, man?
Last week I was at Ford Field. Basically, we were talking about the North, and it's probably the only time all season that the Lions will be relevant. So,
Okay. Okay, well, hey, there you go. Some good inspiration there. Yeah, so moving on. Let's hit the news from this past week. Um, I want to talk about last night's game, but I guess since we're going to do the game picks and we already made our picks for it, let's save that. We'll start the game picks with that. But news from around the league. I did just see earlier, don't have a ton of details, but Cowboys right tackle La'el Collins looks like he's going to be suspended for 5 games. Um, Man, I don't know. I guess maybe we should talk about last night because I think they played pretty damn well, man. What'd you think?
I thought they played pretty well. I thought it was going to be a close game going into it, so I wasn't surprised. I was with what's his face out. I can't remember the right tackle that was out. Shoot, what was his name? Well, not Wilson. Anyways, the right tackle that was out with COVID for Dallas, I thought that might give the offense a little bit of problems and put some pressure on Dak. But I mean, they lived up to the challenge, and then basically their kicker killed the game for them.
It's man, the kickers, dude, they can curse your team in the worst freaking way. We see it happen every freaking year. And the crazy thing for Dallas is that they were like rock solid at kicker with Dan Bailey for a long time. And then he had that like freak injury, like whatever, something happened to his hamstring or I don't even remember, but and he just was never the same. And now they've been like kind of doing musical chairs with the kickers, and I think a lot of people thought Greg the Leg was going to be the guy, and I don't know, maybe he will be, maybe he gets out of his head and everything comes around from here, but man, week 1, that's yeah, rough way to start, especially when they could have upset the Bucks, man. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and like they were like what's her face? Michelle Tafoya was talking about it. Like he wasn't comfortable at all coming into the game. Apparently he had back surgery or something in the off season, and he wasn't feeling comfortable or something. But it's just weird. I don't understand what the fuck they were doing on some of the plays. Like, why aren't you going for the touchdown? You know your kicker's struggling,
Yeah.
or like why are you kicking a 60-yard trying to kick a 60-yard field goal right before halftime when you know your kicker's struggling? A little bit of that was confusing with the game, but like I told you last night, I think he has a chance of being cut like this week
It could
based on that
definitely happen,
performance.
man. Yeah. The interesting thing with that is I was looking. This was a fantasy football thing, man. I was looking at all the different kickers, and dude, I was blown away at how many new names there are this year than in past years. It's like teams just said, nope, we're done. We're not being patient anymore. If you didn't get it done, we're just trying somebody new. I mean, there's so many fresh names on these teams, man.
Hmm.
Okay, so moving on. I did see also Naeem Hines, running back for the Colts. He's kind of like their third down specialist, sort of their receiving back. He got a nice 3-year extension for 18.6 million this week. Good for him. I think that it goes and shows that he's going to have a role. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, he's their top dog, but Naeem Hines, he's going to be doing something in that offense.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I didn't see the contract value, but it seems to me that he'd actually be better off if he was on a different team because I think he could be a start. Hines could be a starter in the league somewhere and not stuck in the backup role or the change of pace role that he's been in Indy for the last 3 years now, 2 years.
No, I think it's been a few more than that, but yeah. Either way, yeah. I mean, hey, it'd be interesting. He reminds me a little bit of like Austin Eckler, and so I don't
Hmm.
know. Maybe that's not the greatest comparison, but the potential's definitely there. But could he really be like the number one? Or is he always going to be a complimentary guy? That's the thing that I'm not totally sold on. But
Zach Martin it was the guard that was out. Zach Martin was the player.
oh
I think.
yeah, 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 that's
Sorry.
right. Yeah, Zach Martin. Yeah, I was gonna say when you were saying right tackle, I was like, well, I thought that was Collins, but maybe I missed
Yeah,
something. So
yeah.
okay,
Right guard.
gotcha,
Anyways,
gotcha.
sorry. It just
No, it's
clicked.
it's it's all good. And so here, this is the next piece, and I'm gonna say it, but we're gonna save some of it for question of the week. With the Detroit Lions. Looks like Taylor Decker is going to be out for, they're saying, a little while now. It started with something of a small injury, maybe now it's a bigger injury. And the team was originally planning on keeping Sewell at right tackle. All of the sudden, they are now switching him to left tackle. Like I said, we'll save some of this for the question of the week. But man, it's interesting because we've been talking this whole time. I think we've been in agreement that you drafted this guy is like a freaking premium left tackle. Why the heck didn't you just start him there right out of the gate? Now you're going to start him week one going up against Bosa with less than a week of practice time at left tackle. I don't know. Maybe it's like riding a bike, but it just seems like NFL speed. Hey, I'll save the rest for question of the week. But if you got a quick comment, let's hear it.
At least he's starting in the proper position week one.
Okay, yeah, you're looking at it on the bright side. Yeah. Okay, so um, aside from that, I'm just kind of scrolling through here. Um, you know, I don't know. What have you seen news-wise that's sticking out for you from this past week?
Well,
Well, I guess we got
um,
the Ravens stuff.
the
So
Ravens,
Yeah,
and that's
Gus
what I was going.
Edwards.
Latavius Murray was cut by the Saints after refusing to take a pay cut like right before his salary was guaranteed.
Okay.
And then the Ravens had more injuries this week. I guess they had Gus Edwards and Peters tore
Oh
their
yeah.
ACL,
Yep.
like back-to-back plays in practice.
Yeah, that's bad luck, man. That's bad luck.
Yeah.
And I think they were feeling obviously not happy about losing Dobbins, but I think they felt good that they had Gus Edwards. And now, yeah, they're doing a little bit of scramble. They worked out Devonta Freeman. They're signing Latavius Murray. I heard they might even be kicking the tires on Le'Veon Bell.
Well, they
Um,
signed Le'Veon Bell to the practice squad with the intention of bringing him up to the 53-man
uh,
roster
okay,
when he's quote ready, whatever the fuck that
gotcha.
means.
Yeah, listen, I've heard, and I hate to knock a Sparty, but I've heard Le'Veon Bell has notoriously been bad with conditioning. And so, maybe he's just been doing his private workouts, waiting for a team to call, and a team finally called and they're like, fuck, man, you are not even in game shape.
Mm.
Like, so much has changed with that guy. It bums me out, man, but it's okay. It's the NFL. And he's, shit happens. These are people. So, okay. So, yeah. So they got Latavius Murray. Yep. They lost Peters. That's not good. Um, okay. TJ Watt signed an extension with the Steelers, big time money, 4 years, 112 million. And that was coming down to the wire because I heard the Steelers are pretty adamant about not doing midseason deals. And so I think everybody feels pretty good that they got this one done. It's out of the way. TJ Watt, you know, I still look back a year ago and I was discounting this guy a little bit. And then having that extra year of watching him, I finally became a believer. But it's, it'll be interesting. Like you said, everything changed on that defense when Bud Dupree went down. I still think Watt is legit. But man, I'm interested to see what happens with Pittsburgh. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and even though I say everything changed on that defense when Dupree went down, Watt last year was in the top 3, 4 for Defensive Player of the Year. So, I mean, all I have to say about the deal is it's about time. Like, what the fuck took so long to sign the deal?
Yeah, he had so many pressures, man. Even if he wasn't getting the sacks, he was just always in the quarterback's face.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else news-wise that you want to hit on?
That's about all I remember from this week. I'm sure there's stuff we missed on it, but like it felt like a light week again.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. There were a few things, but I agree. I think maybe the calm before the storm now that week one's finally here. Something like that.
Yeah. Who knows?
Okay. Well, yeah, hey, let's flip it over. Let's talk about the getting into our main part of the show here. Let's start with our 2021 week one NFL team power rankings. And so, just like last year, we're going to go through them. It's early for me. I'm sure, you probably put in a little bit more time and effort than I have on this. I'm kind of going with my gut and everything that we've looked at in the entire offseason, players that these guys lost, players they've added, coaching changes, all those kinds of things. And until I see some games, I'm just kind of going with best guess gut feel. I'm not doing anything super complicated with a model like I did last year. I'm going to get there for sure, but it just I don't know. I just feel like it's a little bit premature to be putting too much on a model when we got to see how all these players come together. So I don't know. Why don't you kick us off, man? Give me your top five.
All right. So number one, I have the Rams,
You got the
and
Rams at one.
I switched it up a little bit from what I had sent you earlier.
You sandbagging son of a bitch.
So at number one, I have the Rams. Look, I think the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl this year, um, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think the Rams are clearly, easily the best team in the league. I mean,
Okay.
that's just how I feel
If
about them.
that's yeah, if that's your pick, that's your pick. It's cool. Yeah, you got to stick with it, man. That's good.
At number two, I have the Chiefs. The Chiefs have anytime they have Mahomes, any anytime you have Mahomes and you beef up that offensive line, You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who should have a better year. You have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and I haven't even gotten to their defense yet. And I'm talking about some of the best players in the league. So I put the Chiefs at number two.
Okay.
While I think Buffalo head to head would beat the Chiefs, I have them sliding in at number three.
Okay.
Um, I'd like Buffalo. I mean, but I think Buffalo. I I've actually kind of come off Buffalo making it to the Super Bowl this year a little bit. I think they have a chance to. But I've come down a little bit from them making the Super Bowl, and actually my number five team is who I think has a chance to make the Super Bowl this year, which I'll get to that there, and it's going to be utter shock to you.
Okay.
Number four, I have Tampa Bay, and it's really reiterated by what they did last night to have what they have, 5 turnovers, 6 turnovers, and still win the game. I
Yeah.
mean that defense, it did just enough. There's some concerns with Tampa Bay on defense now, especially in the secondary with what's the CMU guy, Murphy Bunting going down, and then like
Oh, my
and then
Central
they had
Michigan guy.
and then they had I mean their secondary is getting more and more depleted. But look, they really brought back 23 starters from last year, so it's
Hmm.
that same Super Bowl team. So there's still a top five team. At number five, um, the more and more I read about this team,
You got
the
a
more
dark
and
horse team
more,
in here. Oh boy.
the more and more I'm absolutely falling in love with this team. And they have a new coach this year who did phenomenal as a defensive coordinator last year at their crosstown team.
Okay.
At number five, I have the Chargers, and I think the Chargers actually have a shot of making the Super Bowl this year. Um, with Herbert, Herbert's going to take a step forward. They have a better offensive line. You have Herbert has the full offseason coming in as a starter. He's getting the chemistry with Keenan Allen. It's a little bit of concerning that Eckler is going to be a game time decision this week and what's going on there. But they're coming out of the preseason basically healthy.
Yeah.
And last year I thought they would be a playoff team until Derwin James went down. And now that defense is healthy, that defense is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I don't think it's crazy to say that it's going to be an all LA Super Bowl.
I like hearing that. I've got them a lot lower on my board for now. But we did talk, I don't even know when it was, a month or two ago about them being a dark horse Super Bowl team. And one of the reasons is kind of like the element of surprise with the new head coach. But they've got a ton of talent, and so it's I think there's some stuff that could happen. I'm not like totally on board with it yet, but I hear what you're saying. Um, okay, so kicking it over to me, 1 through 5. I've got Tampa Bay at 1, Kansas City 2, Buffalo 3, Green Bay 4, and I've got the Rams at 5. And when I did this, it was before the game last night. I had Tampa Bay up there. I just thought it was insane to put them anywhere other than at 1. Like you mentioned, returning all those starters, and even with last night's game. I'm still okay keeping them here for now. There was a lot of talk during the game about Bruce Arians being upset about the team having a lack of focus, and that led to some of the sloppy play. Uh, you know, Tom Brady's still the quarterback. He's going to whip these guys into shape, and they're 100% vaccinated for COVID. They're not messing around. I mean, I'm sure last night was like that punch in the jaw of shit, if we're not careful, we could lose. And I got a feeling that they're going to lock it down, and it'll be okay in Tampa Bay. But we'll see. We'll see. Every week you get a new piece of the puzzle. Kansas City at 2. Hey, I like what they did with the offensive line. I wish they would have hung on to Eric Fisher, but I get it. It was kind of a dicey situation with the injury. The interior of that offensive line should be rock solid now, which, that's what you need when you got a guy like Mahomes. give him a pocket, and you're giving him a chance. And so, yeah, Buffalo at 3. You know, this one was tough. I had a hard time pushing them lower than 3 because, we know what they did on offense, and their defense, I would say their defense was good last year, not great. And I was expecting them, I think, last year to be great, but it was their offense that like catapulted, and the defense didn't quite live up to my expectations. This year, I'm hearing a lot of positive stuff about this defense and the pass rush getting better. And I think that the offense will have some regression only for the fact that it was such like a coming out party last year. Defenses are going to buckle down on them a little bit. I think they're good enough that they're still going to be awesome. It's just, they're going to make up for it on the defensive side of the ball this year to keep them at that top level. And so after that, I got Green Bay. And, it feels weird having Green Bay at 4. It just seems like every year we're talking about all the potential that they have, and they just never seem to get it done and go all the way. And something about that just gives me a bitter feeling having them at 4. But I just, it's Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, LaFleur with that team has a phenomenal record in his first couple seasons. And so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for now. I'm keeping him up here. And then I've got the Rams at 5. Uh, you know, I'm still not buying into all the hype with Stafford and things like that, like where he's like all of a sudden the silver bullet for this team. And I am trying to be cautious because I did like John Johnson. They lost from that secondary. They do have some things going on. Cam Akers out at running back. I still think they're going to be a great team and a ton of potential. So I put them at 5. That's another one where I could see that one moving up or down, fairly significantly, I think, after I actually watch them play a couple games. So, all right, 6 through 10, man, back to you.
All right, 6. I have Green Bay. I would put Green Bay higher, but I don't see them better than the teams I have above them. Maybe one or two slots, maybe fluctuating during the season on how he's playing. But I think that 6 feels about right for Green Bay.
Okay.
At 7, 8, I have Seattle and San Francisco, and I struggled with which one to put 7, which one to put 8. Both teams are solid teams. I think San Francisco is another potentially dark horse candidate to make the Super Bowl from the NFC. And it's just I gave the edge to Seattle because I had them winning. I think they might end up in the season with a better record than San Francisco. Last year, San Francisco had what was the stat I heard? 17 of their highest. No, that seems high. It must have been like I don't remember the stat, but it was some ridiculous number of their highest paid players on the injured reserve all year.
It was a disaster, man. It was a disaster.
Yeah, it was an injury disaster last year for them, and I think the team played solidly for what they had, and I think with their starters there, and as soon as they put Lance in at quarterback, I think this team is solidly a top 10 team in the NFL.
Nice.
9, I have Tennessee. 10, I have Cleveland. I just went on what their projected record was. I believe I originally, when I did my rankings before, which I had started my rankings before all this injury news came out about Baltimore this week. I believe I had Baltimore at 9, but I dropped them way down with these injuries, and they're just having way too many injuries up there. And yeah, Lamar Jackson is their leading rusher last year, but right now their number one running back didn't even have a rushing yard for him last year.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So that's a concern. So I dropped Baltimore way down and kind of slid Tennessee and Cleveland up. And I have Tennessee winning their division. Cleveland's probably going to win the AFC North now. So I feel top 10 is about right for them.
Nice. Okay. Well, I've got Cleveland at 6 on my board. After that, I got Seattle, then Tennessee, San Francisco, and I squeezed New England into my top 10. And so with Cleveland, yeah, I mean, I'm digging this team, man. I like everything they did. Going back to the day they hired Stefanski, I thought they hit the nail on the head with that guy for the talent they had on that team. I was like, immediately they're going to ground and pound and open up the play action with Baker Mayfield, and it's going to work great. I think this offseason, bringing in John Johnson, some of the things they got going on with that defense, I'm not like crazy about Clowney, but I believe they got Grant Delpit, high draft pick from 2 years ago, missed last season with injury. He'll be coming back. Um, I'm excited for this Cleveland team, and I think it's one of these things. I was talking about Buffalo maybe would have some regression. I think it's hard for a team like Cleveland to regress too much because it's a traditional sort of hard-nosed offense, and that's the kind of thing that when it works, it works. They have a great offensive line. They've got the great tandem at running back, and they've been able to get great production out of the passing game because it's all working the way it should. And I think that defense gets better, and so I like them at 6 for now. Maybe a little high, but I'm excited for Cleveland. 7, I got Seattle. To me, it's hey, this is a Russell Wilson team. I think their defense got a lot better last year once they brought in Carlos Dunlap. They still got Jamal Adams. We know their wide receivers are great with Metcalf and Lockett. Chris Carson looks like going to be healthy. Going to grind the football another year. Um, and so I like them. They're definitely a streaky team, and so this is one where I'm sure they're gonna go up and down on my board, and there's gonna be weeks where I get pissed at them. But I like them here for now. 8 Tennessee. This is another one where, I mean, man, I really wanted to put Tennessee higher, and it's. I think the only reason I didn't is because when I look at the player ratings, their talent level, at least on paper, by a number of sources, is still lower than the teams above them. And we talked about this last year. It's one of these things. It's just like, is Vrabel just coaching the shit out of these guys, getting like every ounce of potential out of them, or what is it? And I like Derrick Henry in that old school running style. In Tannehill, I'm impressed with what he's done. I think that their offense is going to be very dangerous this year. Um, it's just that defensive side of the ball that makes me nervous. So, and then
Hmm.
so at 9 with San Fran, yeah, I hear everything that you were talking about with the IR issues last year. I would love to see this team get back up into that more sort of like top tier of teams. I'm a little bit nervous about the Trey Lance thing. The two quarterback thing. I've just never seen that work with teams before. It always seems to kind of be a detriment. If anybody can make it work, it's going to be Shanahan, I'm sure. But I also want to see that defense get back to form. They lost Solid to the Jets. He's a head coach now. The secondary, I saw they brought in Josh Norman. Hopefully that helps them. But they do have some holes, and that defensive line, for as much talent as there is, last year struggled because of the injuries and things like that. And so I'm keeping an eye on San Fran. And then at 10 with New England, look, it's a lot for a rookie quarterback to be putting him this high. I think he's going to fit that offense perfectly. I think that their offseason was solid, bringing in Belichick type guys. I mean, shit, they just went out and brought fucking Kyle Van Noy back. They got Hightower back from the opt out. Um, you know, am I a little high on them? We'll find out. But I like what they're doing in New England, man.
Hmm.
Okay, so kicking it back to you, 11 through 15.
All right, at 11, I have Dallas, and after watching last night, like I, my, I was really tempered on Dallas coming into the initial rankings because I hadn't seen what Dak being back, if he was healthy, what was going on with him. So they'll probably actually move up after last night's game. At 12, I have Washington. Look, I love the defense in Washington. Washington should be a top 10 team if they get adequate quarterback play. And that's the concern there is they have probably one of the worst quarterback rooms in the league with Fitzpatrick, and I always want to say Fitzgerald, so that's where the pause was. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzy. Just go with Fitzy.
Yeah, and Taylor Heineke and what's the other
Kyle
guy's name?
Allen.
Kyle Allen. I don't think any of them either any of the three are necessarily a starting quarterback in the league, and that's my concern with them.
Okay.
At 13, it's Indianapolis. I would have Indianapolis higher on this list if it weren't for the fact that number one, they're the least vaccinated team in the league,
Oh, wow. I didn't
and
know that.
that's going to come back to. I see that coming back to bite them, and some key players like Wentz or somebody's gonna miss a game because of COVID protocols, and it's gonna kill their season.
Okay.
At 14, I have New England, and I'm a little bit I'm high on New England this year. I think Mac Jones is is the right choice. I think Mac Jones is going to be a stud in this league for a while. I think New England's going to have a good year, but I have to see it.
Yeah, I get
I
that.
have I have to see it happen before I can put them up much higher. And then at 15, running out the top 15, I have the Raiders. Um, this is basically purely on what I see their record being. I don't like the Mayock Gruden experiment in Vegas, and I think both of them actually need to be fired, and they need to press the reset button. But it
Yeah.
won't happen.
Yeah, it sucks, man. I like both those guys, but it's not getting results. So,
Yeah.
maybe they need to go back to TV. They were both really good there. Um, all right, so yeah, kicking it my way, 11 through 15, I got Baltimore, Dallas, Indianapolis, Washington, and Arizona. Um, with Baltimore, I don't like the injuries. I'm not super nervous about it yet because this is a team that is almost always like so stacked with depth. And, it's kind of like you mentioned, Lamar Jackson, he is really their top runner anyhow. So, maybe I discredited the running back situation a little bit. And then with the secondary, they've just historically been deep there, so I think they'll find a way. But, it is something to keep an eye on. Dallas at 12, you know, um, you know, I was super high on Dallas last year, and it blew up in my face. And, I- you know, it's like I almost feel like every year I'm trying to talk myself into Dallas. And 12, I'm just not sure. Like, am I talking myself into that being good? Or, last night made me feel like, oh, yeah, man, they're going to be a lot better than this. But I don't know. It's hard to say. 13, Indy. That vaccination thing, man, I didn't know that. And that's definitely a factor for me now as I look at Indy. I like their team. I think they've got good quality talent at pretty much every level. I like their coach. And maybe 13 was a bad spot because that is the unlucky number. Uh, 14 Washington. I agree with you. I love the defense. I'm hoping Fitzy can do it for more than just a spurt because that's basically his MO. He comes into a team, has three good games, and then disappears. And, if they want to be a playoff team, they need him to do it for the duration. And he's capable. He's shown it. He's just also shown that the wheels fall off for whatever reason after a couple games. And then Arizona at 15. I like Kyler Murray. I like what they did on this defense. I like, it's tough, man. Cliff Kingsbury, he gets a lot of shit because people feel like they should be better than they are. And I think 15's middle of the road. So it's kind of a safe spot for me to put them. I'd like to see them get better. Um, it's hard to have a whole lot of faith because they haven't done anything to this point, and they've had a couple of years with this group of people for the most part. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for Rondale Moore. I like what they got going on there. So back to you, man. 16 through 20.
All right, so this is where 16 is where Baltimore ended up falling to on my list based on the injuries. Look, I hear what you're saying with Lamar and stuff, but I just think when your top two running backs go down with injury, that's a problem.
Yeah,
And you're signing people off the street just to fill that running back room up, that's a problem. 17, I have Miami, and I want to be really high on Miami. I really, really do. I like what I think they're doing down there, except for the fact that every time any quarterback is rumored to be available, Miami is rumored to be in the mix with them.
yeah. That messes with me with Miami all the way.
18, I have Arizona, and right here, I think is possibly the first head coach to be fired this year is Kingsbury, because this team has the talent to be a top 12 team in the league. This team has the talent to be a playoff team, but they just something's missing there, and I don't like what I'm seeing going on there.
Okay.
19, I have Minnesota. I would love to put Minnesota higher on this, except for the fact that the most important position on the team is not vaccinated.
Yeah, what is KC1 doing, man?
Yeah, so that that concerns me. He's going to miss a couple games. There's potential to miss a couple games because of protocol, and it concerns me up there. Number 20, I have New Orleans. I think Jameis is going to have a better year than Breeze did last year, but my problem is they took so long to name Jameis the starter.
Yeah.
It's like they were trying to talk themselves into Taysom Hill, and they were trying to talk themselves into Taysom Hill, and they were trying to talk themselves into Taysom Hill, and just couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
I think they're going to kind of go back and use Taysom Hill way too much this year at quarterback. Just
Yeah.
let Jameis be the guy and move forward.
Yeah, I think that was the breeze with Taysom as the gadget guy worked. I think this year, this is where it's kind of like what I was saying with San Fran with the two quarterback thing being detrimental. Jameis is not dominant enough for this to not be a distraction and be detrimental to the team at some point this season. And so I don't know. I'm excited to see what Jameis Winston does with that team. It just it's hard when you know there's somebody nipping at the heels like that the head coach publicly just like raves about all the time. And so we'll see.
Not
Um,
only the head coach, the general manager rave about him. General
yeah,
manager raves about him all the time too.
yeah. Okay, so looking at my side, I got Pittsburgh at 16. Then I've got the Chargers. After that, the Raiders. Then the Vikings, and after that, I got the Saints. So we actually had a couple of them here, 19 and 20, the same lined up here. Pittsburgh at 16. This is one where it's like, man, normally I would have Pittsburgh higher than this, especially to start the season. Um, I just feel like so much has changed with this team. And, what are we going to get with Big Ben? And, I think we're going to get good results with Big Ben to start the year. But how long will they have good results with him? He, as the year goes on, has a tendency to get nagging injuries because the offensive line, and he takes a lot of hits. And that offensive line, they got to show that they can be better than last year. I mean, they gutted the offensive line, which not necessarily a bad thing because they were horrible last year, but it just they didn't like go out and like hit the freaking jackpot by drafting guys and making big free agent moves. And so I'm concerned with that. I am concerned about the Bud Dupree free agency departure, plus a couple of their top cornerbacks left in free agency. Although I did hear Tomlin made some comments about the depth there and him not being concerned. Um, I don't know, 16. It's like squarely middle of the pack. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go up, but because of all the things that have happened, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go down either. With the Chargers at 17, I want to get behind them, just like you're saying, James. But I am nervous with it being a new coach, new system. Derwin James hasn't stayed healthy. I want him so badly to stay healthy. Bosa, I think he's good, but it's kind of one of those things too. It seems like he has nagging injuries a lot, and then it seems like is it the nagging injuries or is it a lack of focus or I don't know. I mean, the talent is definitely there. We just don't always see those results, I don't think. Um, and then Herbert, man, I mean, if it wasn't such a freaking amazing rookie year, I would probably be more comfortable with the hype. But it's one of those things where we saw it be so good that I feel like teams are going to take him way more seriously, and it's going to be harder to repeat that. But hopefully he has like a Mahomes kind of second year and just lights the fucking shit up. The Raiders at 18, you know, I can see it being lower. I just also think that, Derek Carr, he's been with Gruden long enough now that he should be able to run that offense still pretty solidly. And they did go out and basically sign everybody and their mom that's a veteran to play defense. Uh, this team knows their back's against the wall. They're not fucking around. And so, I can see them lower, but I can see them being higher because of desperation mode too. Minnesota at 19. This is one where I'm looking for this to go up as the season goes on. I do believe their defense is going to be way improved from last year with the moves that they made, and that could be the difference maker for this team. At 20 with the Saints, this a lot of this hinges on the quarterback situation. Honestly, it really does. If Jameis does well, I think they rise because I think they still have a lot of talent on defense. I think the wide receiver thing makes me a little bit nervous with Michael Thomas out, and they had their preseason kind of like flash in the pan guy that's going to be their one, Marquez Callaway. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. I mean, they got guys, but they're not name brand guys. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, back to you, man. 21 through 25.
All right, so at 21, I have Cincinnati. I'm high on Cincinnati. I'm high on Joe Burrow. I need to see Joe Burrow comfortable on the field coming off that injury. And this one, at 22, I probably have this team way too high, and I bought in a little bit to the hype of eating kneecaps on this team, which that's obviously the Lions, and they're gonna drop every year. They're gonna drop. They'll probably round out the top 25 by this end of the season, maybe 26 or 27. But I have them here right now because I've drank the Kool-Aid a little bit on them.
Okay.
Again, even though I said I wasn't going to this year, it kind of happened.
I wouldn't say you. I don't think you went overboard at 22. I think you're fine there. You're in the range, in my opinion.
Yeah. At 23, I have the Falcons. I don't know, because they had such inadequate coaching the last couple years. I don't know what this team is. I like the drafting of Kyle Pitts. I like the fact I think Arthur Blank should have sat there and said we're just going to break it all down, get rid of Julio, get rid of Matty Ice, draft the quarterback first pick, and just start fresh. And they didn't do that. And I don't know what Atlanta is. They probably could go up. They could go down. I'm unsure about them. I like the hire of the coach. I think that he can do special things. I like the fact that they went out. You got Mike Davis, who had a solid year last year at running back. I like the production they're going to get from Kyle Pitts. I think it was the wrong draft pick for them, but it also could be the right draft pick for them, and they could could have a phenomenal year.
Okay.
24, I have Denver. I would have Denver higher on this list. Denver is a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender,
Yeah.
and Teddy Bridgewater's not that quarterback. Drew Lock's not that quarterback. This year, honestly, what could happen? Hypothetically, Green Bay wins the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers could win back-to-back Super Bowls with Green Bay
Different teams.
and then Denver next year. Like seriously, that's how good this team is. They just need that quarterback. And at 25, I have Carolina. And my issue with Carolina, well, I have a couple issues with Carolina, but my main issue with Carolina is I don't know who Sam Darnold is.
Yep.
I don't know if he's a quarterback. I don't know if he's should be out of the league, like basically out of the league, like Josh Rosen. I'm not sure. So I have them at 25 because I think the teams behind them have other more issues than them.
I got you. I think that's a fair statement with Darnold. Um, okay, so looking at mine, 21 through 25, I've got Miami, Denver, Chicago, Atlanta, and Carolina. And I'll be honest, from here on out on my board, minus with a couple teams at the bottom, I think this whole next range is fairly interchangeable. I see potential and I see some sort of glaring hole, and you can write the narrative whatever way you want with these guys, and it's going to be hard to say, which way they end up. Miami at 21, I think, you know, they have the potential, but yeah, the Tua thing is a concern. Like they're just not totally behind that guy, and I'm not totally behind that guy. The way I've seen him play and just the way the ball is lacking a tight spiral, it just bothers me, James. I don't know what it is. Um, but they were a good surprise team last year, and we know that the players are behind the coaching staff, and the coaching staff's getting everything out of these guys. And it feels disrespectful putting them at 21, but I just couldn't put them any higher. Denver, I really wanted to put Denver higher. I'm excited to see what their defense does with all the moves they made in the secondary. They're getting Von Miller back. Um, and, we know that the offense has talent all around. I'd like to see maybe that offensive line get a little bit better, but they're getting there. They're making improvements. But yeah, quarterback's the big thing in Denver. At 23, I got Chicago. I could see Chicago being a lot better, and it's a similar thing. It's all going to depend on the quarterback. We know that they've got a ton of talent on defense. Um, they were a team last year. They had like that fluky ass like 5-1 start or whatever, and so you know, at 23, is it a little bit low? I don't know, man, because they could have been with a losing record through 6 games last year, and somehow they ended up being 5-1. So I'm here with them for now. I think the sooner they get over to Justin Fields, the better. Atlanta at 24. It's just because it's unknown what's going to happen with this team, new coaching staff. I hope that he brings over some of that Tennessee mindset of like ground and pound, and just feed Mike Davis. I don't think he has to like try to make him a Derrick Henry because he's not a Derrick Henry, but give him the ball a lot. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think that plays in well when you have a guy like Matt Ryan who can smartly check down when it's appropriate and feel comfortable giving that guy the ball. So, use the weapon. And then Carolina at 25. I want Carolina to do better. I really liked what we saw from this team last year with Matt Rule. He made Carolina fun to watch again, and I think Darnold could kill that. To be honest, I don't see anything in Darnold to get excited, and maybe this year he changes my mind. He's got a lot of weapons around him, and I think he's got the right coaching staff. It's now or never for him. Back to you, man. 26.
All right, 26, I have Chicago. Chicago, I would have them higher on my board if it weren't for Andy Dalton. If Justin Fields was coming in the season as a starter, Chicago would probably be somewhere around 20.
Okay.
And yeah, they did surprise with the 5-1 start last year, but all coming into it, like every week we're like, I don't know what it is. This team does not look that good, but they
Yeah.
keep winning.
Yeah.
And every week in and week out, that's what we were saying. How the fuck do they keep winning? How the fuck is this team winning? And I think that they just need to press the reset button on the coach GM and fucking finally name Justin Fields your starter because he's obviously going to be the one. None of the shit. Oh, well,
Yep.
we need to see Andy Dalton in the regular season first. Bullshit, you do.
No,
You're playing the game. You're
yeah.
playing the game where you have Andy Dalton as a starter and he fucking sucks. And then you go over to Justin Fields and look, we improved with the rookie quarterback. Imagine what I can do next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Save my job again.
Yeah. 27, I have Jacksonville. Jacksonville's at 27 because I know they have a quarterback. The rest of the teams behind them, I'm unsure about their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's the only reason why Jacksonville's at 27.
I like that logic.
28, I have the Giants. And 29, I have Philadelphia. And this is interchangeable, 28, 29. It's basically 28A and 28B on this. They don't have the quarterback. Jalen Hurts isn't the answer in Philadelphia, I don't think, from what I've seen. Uh, what's his face? The receiver they drafted is having problems catching the ball because there's no stripes on the ball, so I can't see it as well. Um, Danny Danny turnovers with the Giants. Um, who knows about Saquon's health with the
Yeah.
Giants? It's a mess up there. I thought they had their coach, and now I'm not so sure. Philadelphia, you know, between these two teams, 28-29, I played rock paper scissors. Scissors came up, so Giants went to
Okay.
28.
Okay.
At 30, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. That you're just bombing the Steelers this year, man.
And the reason why I have them at 30 is they didn't do anything to address the fucking offensive line. They gutted it, but they could have drafted players. Instead, they drafted a running back. Yeah, great, you have a
Hmm.
fucking running back. They should have gotten rid of Roethlisberger. I like Roethlisberger. He's too old. He can't make it through a fucking season. Last year the 5 games they lost were basically his fault because he couldn't fucking play anymore. Um, and he's
That's my
done.
quarterback.
He's not Tom Brady. He can't play into his 40s.
He's taken a lot of
Plus,
abuse to his body, man.
yeah. Plus that defense is a shell of itself.
Okay. So yeah, you're expecting them to really fall apart this year.
Oh, I think they'll be lucky to win 4 games this year.
Man, that's intense. A Mike Tomlin team. Whew. I'm not about to write them off, but I like your ballsiness. I definitely do. That's something I appreciate about you, James. Not afraid to get a little ballsy. All right, so looking at my 26 through 30, I've got the Giants. After that, I got Detroit, Cincinnati, New York Jets, and Jacksonville. And honestly, you know, you didn't say a whole lot about the Giants, but what you said just made me like cringe that I got them at 26. It makes me feel like I should have them even lower than this. But they did find a way to win some games last year, and so I think I gave them some credit for that. But I don't like their coach. I don't like their quarterback. I don't like their running back. I don't really like a whole lot. I like Blake Martinez on the defense. I'll tell you that. I like Kenny Galladay if he can stay healthy. I do like Kyle Rudolph, but he's long in the tooth, and they do still have Evan Ingram, so I'm not sure how that timeshare is going to work out. Um, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to think of the Giants. But Detroit at 27, you know, I would love to see Detroit outperform this. And I think I've set the bar at a place where no matter what happens unless they go 0-17, I'm really not going to be that upset with them. In fact, I'm probably only going to be happy with them. And that's fine because this is year one of a massive overhaul. We talk about it all the time. Cincinnati at 28. The vast majority of the power rankings I've seen have Cincinnati a lot higher than this. And it's all because of Burrow. The problem I have with that is everything I see and hear about Burrow is very, very negative right now. He's nervous in the pocket. He's not making great decisions. And why would he? I mean, he basically had his fucking leg ripped off last year. I would be scared coming back too, especially when they didn't really do a whole lot to give him more protection. Um, I'm sure it'll come around for him because he did look really freaking good last year before he got hurt. But I want to see it before I can really get higher on them. And plus, he's just one guy. That team, Jamar Chase is dropping balls. I mean, their defense, they got a lot of issues in Cincinnati. So they're here for now. The Jets at 29, you know, I'm like mildly buying into some of the Zach Wilson hype. I like what I've seen from him. I do think that with Becton and Vera Tucker, that line should be better, even though they're getting knocked right now. Um, I do think Corey Davis is actually a legit wide receiver in the NFL. I think he finally developed, and I'm happy to see what he can do. And then on defense, they got the right defensive-minded coach, former defensive coordinator, to help them out. And I got them at 29, so it's not like I'm expecting the world from them, but I do think they're a team on the rise. Uh, Jacksonville at 30. I like what you said with Trevor Lawrence, and maybe I could have bumped him up a couple spots. And I do like that Jacksonville does have a decent offensive line to protect him. They have a good running back. They've got good wide receivers for him, and they do have weapons on defense. And so, I could see Jacksonville outperforming this for sure. But rookie quarterback, rookie head coach who comes from college, some of those guys, that translation doesn't really work out well from college to pros. And so, we'll see where it goes. But I think that they've got a lot of upside for being at 30 on my board. Okay, back to you, man. Give me the dogs at 31 and 32.
All right. Teams at 31 and 32. I would put both these teams as going 0-17 this year if they didn't play each other.
Oh, well, 16 and 1.
0-16 and 1.
That'd be so messed up.
1-16 and 0-17. That's the Jets and Houston. I like the balls of coming out and finding and thinking this quarterback's my guy and I'm going to draft him no matter what. They could have done better. Zach Wilson, he had one good year in college against no competition.
True.
He played a little bit of competition and he looked like shit.
Okay.
And then Houston is possibly, that entire roster is possibly completely devoid of talent.
Yeah, Houston's in trouble, man. They're not like really even in a rebuild yet is the problem. Like they've made a lot of changes with the coach and stuff, but until they move Watson, they're not like officially in a rebuild, man. And that's a problem for this team. It's like this year is basically, hey, whatever your freaking name is, we hired you, and everybody knows that we're just going to have you fall on the sword because the rebuild starts next year, and that's when we're going to go out and get our coach. So I don't know. That's the way I see it. But yeah, I got Houston at 31. I got Philly at 32. I think Houston maybe wins a game or two more than Philly purely because Tyrod Taylor is smart with the football. And there's like some hype about them having a decent pass rush this year. I think that combination can maybe get them a game or two.
So
at least a game.
By that logic, you have them winning a game or two more than Philly, so you have Philly winning -1 or -2 games.
If we can do that, Can we like go to the third dimension? I would do it. No, Philly, the Gardner Minshew trade kind of sealed it in my mind that and they refused to name Hurts the starter all offseason up until like the very end here, which
Up
is
until
like,
the very end, which was when it was rumored that Watson was being traded there, and they're like, nope, Hurts is our starter.
yeah, and it was foolish. And then watching their head coach, Sirianni, he's probably an ultra intelligent guy. He just is like way too freaking scatterbrained for me, man. It is hard watching that guy talk. And so I don't know. I think that the talent for Philly has fallen off a fucking cliff horribly. And there's just too much turmoil with this team. And so I got them at the bottom for now. Normally, I would say, Philly always finds a way. They find a way to fill the roster. They find a way to do all these things. I don't see any of that this year. I see this as like a total 180 from where this team was just 2 years ago. So yeah, they're my bottom of the barrel. Okay, so that's our power rankings. Why don't we jump it over to the game picks? And hey, we're both 1-0 to start with Tampa Bay. It was an exciting game, but we locked in that first win. That's a good sign, right?
Yeah, barely locked in that first win.
All right, so I'll just go down the list here, man. Jacksonville at Houston. Who do you like there?
So, I mean, I've been saying all offseason that Houston's going 0-17. So you guys start out with a loss. So Jacksonville.
Okay, I've got Houston in this one, and it's the only reason I'm doing it is because it's in Houston and it's rookie quarterback week one, which I guess, we've seen a lot of rookie quarterbacks actually surprise teams in week one, but I'm just, it's by the slightest edge I gave this one to Houston. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Washington football team. Who do you like there, James? I mean, you
So
were
for
just
this
pumping the
one,
Chargers.
yeah, I'm pumping the Chargers, and I like the Chargers. Like, I mean, I think this is possibly one of the better games of the week for it, but I like the Chargers to pull out the win against what was the latest rumor, the Washington Defenders.
Defenders. Okay. Well, I'm taking Washington in this game, and so I like this. Early on, we got some varying picks to kick things off. Um, here's the thing. I do like the defense, and I think it's early enough in the season that we're going to see Fitz magic instead of Fitz tragic. And with it being at home, I felt comfortable giving this one to Washington. I wouldn't be surprised though if the Chargers win because they are definitely their arrow is pointing more north than Washington's. But I'm going with the football team for now. Next up, we got the Seahawks at the Colts. Who do you like there?
So I made my picks earlier in the week, and that was before I found out that Wentz was starting, and I've waffled on it since then,
Okay.
and kept oscillating back and forth between the Seahawks and the Colts, and ultimately I think I'm going to stick with my gut feeling on it and go with the Seahawks.
Gotcha. I'm with you. I'm going with the Seahawks on this one too. Even with Wentz starting, he's missed some time now getting ready for this because of the injury. Um, and I don't know. I just, we're talking Russell Wilson versus Carson Wentz to some degree. And to me, Russell Wilson wins that one. So I think he finds a way to get it done. Next up, we got the Jets at the Panthers. Who you like there, man? Well, you were just talking about the Jets, so I got to believe it's the Panthers, but let me not take that out of your mouth.
Well, a little interesting fact I read earlier this week about this game is this is the first instance of a top 3 drafted QB starting his first NFL game against another selected by the same franchise, another top 3 drafted QB selected by the same franchise.
Oh, wow.
for whatever that is. I
Yeah,
I just wanted to fill some time because I just told you that the Jets are going to be lucky to win one game this year, and so therefore I'm going with Carolina.
yeah, yeah. I'm comfortable taking Carolina in this one. I think that the Jets, uh, it's going to take time. You got to be patient with that team. Carolina is further ahead. And then, I mean, hey, you got Darnold, maybe chip on his shoulder going after the old squad, but it's Darnold. So, I think they win. I don't know if they're going to win handedly or if it's going to be some freaking disaster of a win, but I think they'll find a way to back into it. Next up, we got Minnesota at Cincinnati. Who do you like there, James?
So I hate this matchup.
I
I
mean, you
absolutely
you you have these teams real close in your power rankings, and it's
yeah.
at Cincy. So, yeah,
Right. So
this one's probably giving you pause.
this one gave me a lot of pause. A couple things about this game. Vikings, the last three games last year, they allowed 40 points per game. Uh, but the last time they lost 30 plus points in four consecutive games was 2012, 2013. I'm going to stick with it and go with the Vikings on this one.
I think that's the right choice. I'm going Minnesota as well. I think that, like I was saying, we gotta see Burrow get that composure. Minnesota, they just have a way better stacked roster than Cincinnati, and so I got to go Minnesota this one. Okay, next up we got Arizona at Tennessee.
Tennessee all the way on this one. I just, huh, that's an interesting stat.
Tennessee all the way, huh? That's an interesting
But
stat.
no, I was just looking at some of my notes I had put together, and so Derrick Henry has never gained more than 25 yards on a carry in the first month of a season.
Oh wow.
As much of a stud he is, that was just a weird stat. Yeah, I'm going with Tennessee on this one. I just think Tennessee's that much better than
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm going with Tennessee as well. I like that it's in Tennessee. I do want to see Arizona play well this year. I just think that the only way they win is if it's like a absolute shootout. And even then, I think Tennessee's offense, you know, I think they're at that level now. They've had enough of that core together long enough that, especially with it being early, everybody's expected to be healthy. I know AJ Brown's got some stuff going on, but he always does. I think Tennessee. So I'm with you there. Next up, we got San Francisco at Detroit. Drink that
All right.
Kool-Aid.
All I have to s-
Drink that
all I have to
Kool-Aid.
s- all I have to say about this game is going back to 1988. The 49ers and the Lions have played 17 times. What do you think the record is in those games?
Um, 9-8.
No. The
Se
49ers are 15 and 2 against the Lions going back to 1988.
Jeez.
15 and fucking 2.
Yeah. So you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're going Detroit.
Make that 16 and 2.
Okay.
I'm going with the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean I gotta go with San Francisco. I don't see how Detroit is there yet. I mean if they won, I would be freaking the fuck out excited. I just don't see it. San Francisco. Next up we got Pittsburgh at Buffalo.
All right, this game has 45 to 10 written all over it. Buffalo.
Man, you were just creaming the freaking Steelers, man. I think it's closer than that, and it's because it's week one, Big Ben healthy. I don't know. I think it's closer, but I'm giving it to Buffalo as well. Next up, we got Philly at Atlanta.
Um, Atlanta just barely.
Okay. Yeah, I've got Atlanta winning this one as well. It could be a close game. I like that it's in Atlanta. I think Matt Ryan, more seasoned, stable quarterback. Uh, I think that alone maybe gives him an edge here. Next up, we got Cleveland at Kansas City.
Here's another interesting stat for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
Patrick Mahomes has been a starter for 3 years in the NFL. In the first quarter, or the first 4 games of all 3 of those years, he has not lost, he has not thrown an interception, and he has thrown 35 touchdowns.
Jeez.
Kansas City all the way.
Okay, I'm going Kansas City, and I think it can be a close game. I mean, Cleveland almost got them in the playoffs, and I think that they want some revenge. And so, I'm hoping it's a good game. If it's not a close game, I'm going to really be rethinking all my hype on Cleveland. But I think they'll keep it close. But I'm still going Kansas City. Next up, we got Green Bay at New Orleans.
Correction. Green Bay,
Oh, because of
New
the
Orleans,
hurricane.
at Jacksonville.
Thank you. So it's supposed to be a home game for the Saints, but yeah, due to unfortunate circumstances, yeah, that shafts them, man.
If this game was in New Orleans, I'd have it closer than what I think it is. I think it's going to be, but it's clearly a win by Green Bay.
I'm with you. I don't even need to comment on it, to be honest. Next up, we got Denver at the New York Giants.
All right. If Denver can't beat Danny interceptions or Danny turnovers or whatever you want to call him, then they should just fold the franchise and go sell ice cream.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you, man. Denver's got to win this game. If Denver loses this game, it would have me believe Vic Fangio's a mid-season fire candidate, to be honest.
But that's an interesting thing. Vic Fangio, as head coach of Denver, has never won a game in September.
Well, it's time to buck that trend, man.
Yeah, really. You damn well better buck the trend.
You're very passionate about this matchup. Uh, okay, next up we got Miami at New England. I'm looking at you, but I can go first. I'm taking the Patriots. I mean, I'm high on them this year.
So I'm taking the Patriots. I was just glancing at my notes on
Sure.
this. And so if Miami wins, Tua would be the youngest visiting quarterback to win at Gillette Stadium.
Okay.
And this is also, but then again, Jones could become the first rookie Q, or Jones is the first rookie QB to start week 1 under Belichick. Of course, most of it was Brady, and Brady didn't start week 1. And
Yep.
it's the first matchup between QBs who played for Nick Saban at Alabama.
Oh, that's
I'm
a
sorry,
fun one.
In college, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
Miami has a chance. I think Mac Jones is the better quarterback, better coach. Give me the
Yeah.
page.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Okay, Chicago at the Los Angeles Rams.
Now, I may have felt differently about this game if it wasn't a primetime game. I may have felt differently about this game if it was if Justin Fields was starting. Although, interestingly enough, this is my note in this game. Last year, no team had more outright wins as an underdog than the Bears did last year.
Yeah, that's because
Six
they had those fluky ass wins, man.
six of their wins last year, they were an underdog. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. The Rams are going to the Super Bowl. Matt Stafford's going to light up the Bears. Aaron Donald is fucking licking his chops looking at the offensive line play for Chicago, and it's going to be the start for the defensive player of the year to repeat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think the Rams win it, and I think that this is like the best possible first game for Stafford, with the Rams because he's been playing the Bears twice a year for however many years, and that's like a powder puff start for him, where it's like now he's got all this horsepower behind him, and he's going up against an opponent that he knows very, very intimately, and so. Um, yeah, I'm going with the Rams there. Last game we've got actually no, it's not because we gotta go to next Thursday, don't we? Well, here let's just
Mm.
last game for this week. We got Baltimore at the Raiders, Baltimore Ravens at Las Vegas Raiders. Who do you like there, James?
So I I go back and forth on this one. Like the injuries at Baltimore really, really, really concerned me. Um, Interestingly enough, Derek Carr is 4-2 as a starting quarterback on Monday Night Football.
Okay,
Um, I, if it weren't for the injuries, I would go. I would have picked the Ravens, but because of the injuries, I have to go with Vegas.
okay. Well, this is I was wondering if we were going to have some difference here because it's been a while, but. This is one where we're going to have a little bit of action. I'm going with the Ravens here. I think that I don't know, man. The Raiders with Gruden and Mayock. I don't know, dude. I'm just bummed out. I think that they're going to burn and just freaking crash and burn this year. I think Baltimore. It's early on. Lamar's going to do what he does, running the ball all over the freaking place on a very suspect defense. And despite the injuries, I'm going with the Ravens here.
All right,
Okay.
and then we have the Thursday night game next week, which is New York Giants at the Washington Football Team.
Yeah. I mean, I already know your pick. So,
Obviously, it's Washington.
yeah. Same here. Same here. Yeah. I'm down on the Giants and I'm up on Washington. You know, it's a week out, so if something changes, like Chase Young and half the team goes down with injury this weekend, obviously you and I can change it. But yeah, I'm comfortable calling it out now for next Thursday. All right, so we got three games. We got three games to see the difference of how we're going to look, which means after 1 week we won't be tied. So that's one of us is going to have the edge right out of the gate here, James.
Wow, it's only three. Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I think as the season goes on, we're going to have some separation. You got to
Yeah.
remember, I haven't even done my model yet. So once I get my model, I think that's when a lot changed last year because you were doing a lot of narrative, a lot of gut feels. I was doing a lot of, well, the model says this, and then every time I went off the model, I kicked myself, and it just, yeah, who knows. So, but all right, so those are the game picks. Let's kick it over to the question of the week and let's get ready to shut this thing down. But I want to come back to the Penny Sewell thing with Detroit and, Taylor Decker getting hurt. Um, this whole thing just perplexes me, James, because, I would have had him start at left tackle right away. But, Decker got hurt, and the team announced that they were going to keep Sewell at right tackle. And then more reports came out that the injury was more serious. And it wasn't until a little while later that they came back and said, you know what, we're going to move Sewell to left tackle and we're going to have him start practicing there. I even heard that they elevated a guy from the practice squad to be the backup left tackle because even if the replacement got hurt, they were originally that adamant of keeping Sewell at right tackle. And so I don't know. This whole thing's got me messed up, man. Do you think that it was the right call moving him to left tackle after having him practice at right tackle all the way up until freaking, 3 days before the first game?
Yes.
Dude, it's messed up. I feel like he should have been there the whole time to begin with. And I feel like this is a Lions fuck up to change it this late in the game because he's going up against fucking Nick Bosa if he plays left tackle. He's going up against Nick Bosa with no fucking tangible time at left tackle in this offseason. That bothers me, man. I think they're fucking setting him up to fail. And it's like, hey, if you put him at right tackle and he sucked, well, at least then you're talking to him. Hey, man, you're learning the new position. You're going to get there. It's okay. Now it's like you're putting him at left tackle, and I think that there's an expectation that, well, you need to hit the ground running because you were that elite high draft pick. Yeah, but you didn't give him any fucking time to practice there. And so this is like a typical Lions fuck up in my opinion, man. I don't think that, unless he comes out and just dominates, he should have just been at left tackle to start. They mishandled it, and I don't know. I don't like it. So, I don't know. My question of the week is more just about me bitching and moaning, I guess.
I don't know. Hear what you're saying. I think that he should have been there all along. They shouldn't have tried to force him into the right tackle position. I think the reason why they're moving him to left tackle is because they were realizing that he was going to fuck up at right tackle and not be good at it. So they're kind of covering it up with, oh well, we're going to start him there because blah 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 blah. I'm gonna bite his kneecaps off, um, and then I'm gonna take out his other kneecap, and I might take out his elbow, and I might
Yeah.
punch him in the face.
Look, here's what I'll say. I hope he plays well. If he
Mhm.
does, it'll be like, holy shit, you came in with no practice and held it up against Nick Bosa, a top five ish talent on the defensive line. I would be thoroughly impressed, and I would say, if he could do that, he just forced their hand to keep him at left tackle even when Decker comes back. But I think it's an uphill battle for him now. I think they put him in a bad position.
Well, looking back at the injury only happened on Wednesday, so there would only been a couple days to practice at left tackle, anyways.
No, I get that. I get that. And I'm not saying like, I'm just saying that they just stick to a plan, man. Stick to a plan. I don't know. It just, hey, whatever. I'm bitching and moaning. That's all it is.
No, no, no. I get it. I just I don't think whoever was going to go in there at left tackle was going to have that much time at the position or practicing there. So I think putting Sewell there, which is I think more his natural quote unquote position,
Yeah.
um, is putting Sewell there is better than elevating a guy because Sewell's going to be better. Sewell, who's not who's struggling is going to be better than whoever else they could put there in Decker's place.
Okay, I hear you. Hey, I hope it's like riding a bike. He just gets on and goes. That's the best case scenario. Okay, so that's all I got for tonight, man. You got any closing thoughts?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, James, it was fun. And so, for anybody who's watching, we hope you like the show. We're going to be basically replicating this now every week through the regular season, and we get one extra week than we had last year. So, thank you, NFL, for that. Yeah, next week you'll get to see where do we move teams up and where do we move them down, and that's where James and I start taking shots at each other and really having fun with it. But we hope you like the show. If you did, shoot us some comments, give us that thumbs up or the like or whatever. And if you really like it, hit the subscribe button and show us the support. But nonetheless, we appreciate it. James, I hope you have a good night, man. I will catch you later.
That sounds good. See ya.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.